Students, continuing with the other part of cell injury and adaptations. Till now you have noticed the mechanisms and other things. Now we will go for the responses of the cells to the injury, that is either in the form of apoptosis or in the form of necrosis. So what are the subcellular responses to the injury? So mainly you have got components like this, lysosomal components, where in this you see autodigestion due to the elaboration of lysosomal enzymes which causes digestion of the cellular organelles by itself, which is called as autodigestion. And second thing, there will be activation of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum within the cytoplasmic organelles. You can see as a more important component of cell injury is the mitochondrial swelling or edema of the mitochondria will be there, and which is followed by breakdown of cytoskeletons like actin, myosin, which are labeled as thin filaments, microtubules, and intermediate filaments like keratin, desmin, vimentin, neurofilament, and glial filaments. So these are the few things wherein the cellular response to the injury. Then the next part is necroptosis. Necroptosis is nothing but it is a form of cell death, where it is considered to be a hybrid that shares both necrosis as well as the apoptosis aspects. Not all the things, but both are combined. That's why it is labeled as a hybrid which shares both the things. So what are the characters of this necroptosis? Morphologically and biochemically resembles necrosis, namely like loss of ATP will be there, swelling of cell organelles will be there, generation of radical oxygen species, and release of lysosomal enzymes will be noticed, which is supported by rupture of plasma membrane leading on to cell death or necrosis. So mechanically this necroptosis, how is it devised? That means how the action takes place. That is, it can be triggered by genetically programmed signal transduction event which gives rise to cell death. So this is the schematic diagram where you can see at the top first the antigen, like the tumor necrosis factor, when it is introduced, when the antigen is introduced, it combines with the tumor necrosis factor and it forms a complex of tumor necrosis factors RIP ones, and these RIP with RIP3 forms a complex, and what happens in due course, depending on the host response or host immune process, what happens, there are two phases in this. One, by the activation of caspases, wherein the direct cell death takes place because of the caspases, which is nothing but the proteinaceous metal which calls in for normal cell death, that is apoptosis. So when there is failure of the activation of this caspases, what happens, there will be development of necrosomes will be formed within the cytoplasmic structures, wherein there will be metabolic alterations will be seen in the mitochondrial structure, where this is reflected in the form of decreased ATP, giving rise to bioenergetic breakdown leading on to cell death in the form of necroptosis or necrosis. The other counterpart, apart from decrease in ATP, there will be increase in or increased accumulation or increased formation of radical oxygen species wherein there will be protein oxidation and there will be DNA damage, so leading on to loss of cell and organelle migratory, giving rise to cell death in the form of necroptosis. And so also due to this radical oxygen species, there will be lipid permeation which calls in for breakdown of the membranes, giving rise to cell death. And also lysosomal membrane permeability will be increased in the form of degradation of cellular macro molecules, so that what happens, there will be loss of the cell integrity and the membranes also becomes more porous and causes disintegration, giving rise to cell death. What is the importance of this necroptosis? The importance of this necroptosis in both conditions will be seen, as physiological as well as in pathological conditions also. Like there may be formation of mammalian bone growth plate. Cell death may be seen in steatohepatitis, pancreatitis, reperfusion injury, and also in Parkinson's disease. And this necroptosis acts as a backup mechanism in host defense against certain viruses that encode caspase inhibition, particularly in case of cytomegalovirus infections. Pyroptosis, this is also another form of programmed cell death. It is so called because this necroptosis is associated or accompanied by release of certain cytokines which increases the body temperature, giving rise to fever. So coming to the next important part, that is the intracellular accumulation. This is also one of the important subject also for theory as well as your vivos also. So in vivos means the examiner can ask like this, name some intracellular accumulation. So you should be able to enumerate all these things. So what are the intracellular accumulations? Mainly we have got certain elements like lipids, hyaline, glycogen, pigments, calcium. So these are the main components of intracellular accumulations. In lipids, it could be either neutral fats or it could be a cholesterol deposits. Hyaline is nothing but any proteinaceous acellular material which appears as a pink glassy substance under routine hematoxylin and eosin staining is labeled as hyaline change. Glycogen deposition also can be seen in cells. Pigments may be either exogenous pigments or endogenous pigments, and finally calcium. As you know in the previous slides, when there is influx of calcium in the cells, no doubt what happens, the cell goes in for death. What is this lipid law? All lipids are yellow in nature grossly, and these are washed out when you see under microscopy. That means you can see a clear cell, because the stains which we use routinely are alcohol based. So what happens, in alcohol the fat get dissolved, so that what happens, when you see under light microscopy in routine HND stain, you see empty a clear space with the nucleus pushed to the periphery. This is the lipid law. So this is the gross picture of fatty liver, that means deposition of lipids or the fats. You can see the liver is enlarged, on tense, glistening, it is glistening and yellowish. You can see on cut section, you can see the yellowish nature of the liver. So this fatty liver, the most important causes nowadays are the diabetes, obesity and alcoholism because of the toxic nature of this alcohol aldehydes. Microscopically, here you are seeing the microscopic picture where you can see numerous small empty clear spaces. These are the fat deposits, that means fatty liver. And here you can see the cholesterol deposits. On the right side you can see, on the both sides, right side you can see in a more prominent way, which are crystal like needles, both sharp ends will be both the ends will be sharp, and it will be a needle like. These are nothing but the cholesterol crystals. Coming to the pigments, classically, as I said, you have got two types of pigments. One is the exogenous pigments, that means which has been introduced into the body. The good examples being the tattoo and anthracosis in certain industrial occupation ones. Endogenous pigments, they are generated within the body itself or from the organs. Almost they all look the same ones. The examples being hemosiderin, melanin, lipofuscin, bile, and so on. So these endogenous pigments, as enumerated, they appear as golden yellowish brown on routine hematoxylin and eosin stains. So this is the picture of the exogenous pigmentation, that is by the tattoo marks. You can see at the dermis, middle dermis, you can see specks of blackish like material, that is the tattoo mark or tattoo deposits. And this one is the anthracotic pigments, which is seen in the liver. You can see the blackish coloration of the liver. It has been transformed into a black color. Generally it will be a brownish ones. Now it has transformed into a blackish because of the deposition of the coal particles. So under microscopy you can see at the alveolar walls, you can see the blackish deposits in the alveolar walls. And these are the left side, you are seeing the golden brown pigmentations. You can see the large cells, and if you observe keenly, you can see the nucleus to the periphery, and the cytoplasm you can see golden brown deposits, which is nothing but the hemosiderin. That means from the red blood cell, that is breakdown of the red blood cells, where you can have the heme and a ferritin part, iron part. So this iron part or the ferritin part is engulfed by the macrophages, and on hematoxylin and eosin staining, it appears as a golden brown color or sometimes yellowish, mild yellowish. On the right side, you are seeing the deposition of the pigments, that is almost brownish black, or deep brown in color. You can see that is a melanin pigments. The one more important one, which is most important for no doubt for clinical aspect and also for your examination. Say for theory, it can appear as a 5 marks question or 3 marks question individually, and it can be asked for a viva voce also. So what do you mean by calcification? The basic definition of this calcification is deposition of calcium salts in the tissue. It could be either intracellular or extracellular. And broadly, this calcification is classified into two major groups. One is the dystrophic calcification, other one is the metastatic calcification. So what do you mean by dystrophic calcification? Here, by definition, dystrophic calcification, it is defined as deposition of calcium salts or deposits in dead and decaying tissues. The good example for this is tuberculosis, that is caseous metal, wherein in lungs, after the primary infection, you can see with the X-ray a spot like structure, that is the due to calcium deposits. It is also a local cause, like often it may be associated with fibrosis also. Metastatic calcification, by definition, here there will be deposition of the calcium salts wherein it is due to underlying cause. That means to say there may be variation in the calcium levels, but in dystrophic there will not be variation in the calcium levels. So, the good example for this metastatic calcification is hyperparathyroidism, bone destruction which could be due to malignant deposits or malignancy deposits, or it could be from the immobilization wherein you can see the deposition. Renal failure wherein you can see phosphate retention, and intoxication of the related disorders. That means to say more input as a therapeutic measure where you give the vitamin D, what happens, sometimes it can go for an intoxication. So, that what happens, there will be deposition of calcium salts. So, how do you identify this calcium under microscopy? So, for this, when you stain with routine hematoxylin and eosin staining, these calcium appears as a deep blue or basophilic in nature. Next one, the last part of this topic chapter is cell aging. So, what do you mean by the cell aging? As the person goes on aging, so there are changes within the cellular components which is labeled as cellular aging. That is why there is a synonymic term labeled as cell aging parallels with organismal aging. And this cell aging, there have been proposed two theories, like programmed theory which constitutes for about 80%, and the rest 20% it depends on wear and tear process also. So, cellular death is analogous to human death. We don't die because we exercise. We die because we run out of steam. That means they say that cellular aging is the most fascinating ones. It depends on the cofactors also. So, this is a schematic diagram wherein you can see the various processes or factors or mechanisms wherein the cell aging takes place. The above ones highlights the certain factors, and the following ones are the mechanisms how the cell aging takes place. That is, it could be cell aging may be due to carcinogenic exposure, maybe in case of sporadic errors, wherein under these circumstances there may be release of radical oxygen species, as you know, which causes damage to the DNA. Further, due to the damage of DNA, what happens, there may be defective DNA repair which leads on to mutations within the cells, giving rise to cellular aging. That means the lifespan of the cell decreases. The other part is cellular senescence, wherein what happens, genetically made ones is wherein there will be shortening of the telomerases which causes decreased cellular replication, which in turn gives rise to cell loss, and there will be cellular aging. So, that means what happens, the functional ability and the morphological ability of the cell decreases, giving rise to decreased lifespan of the cell. The next one being the defective protein homeostasis. That means to say wherein when there is a defective protein, what happens, the protein production gets altered or deferred. So that meant what happens, there may be decrease in protein productions, wherein it could not be a normal type of protein, but it could be an altered or a damaged proteins, wherein in turn it effects on the cellular function, giving rise to the standstill or decrease in cell function, leading rise to cellular aging. And the other one is the nutrient sensing, wherein here, because of the lack of insulin or growth factor signaling within the cellular components, and also along with the decrease in TCR, there may be altered senses for this, or altered stimulus will be there, so that what happens, the transcription, that is a reverse transcription or RNA transcription process will be altered, which by this way what happens, there may be increased DNA repair and there will be increased protein homeostasis, which counteracts the aging process and causes hamperance in cell development and decreases the cell age. So, these are the few factors, and how these factors mechanically have a pathway in cellular aging. So, with this will come, we are at the end of this topic. So, in a nutshell, to summarize and for you people to know what are the things important for your exam oriented ones, like as I said in earlier classes, there are few important questions wherein you can have, like for example, mainly 5 marks question will be in the form of apoptosis or necrosis. Sometimes they may ask calcification as a 5 marks question also, and for 5 marks also you can have the question like this, difference between apoptosis and necrosis as well. And there are certain, mainly in the cell injury adaptations, majority are for your vivo's questions, like adaptation process like hypertrophy, atrophy, dysplasia, anaplasia and so on. Okay. Dysplasia means disordered growth of the cell, where there will be alterations in the nuclear as well as the cytoplasmic material. Anaplasia is one of the important commonest feature to say that the cell is belongs to malignant ones. So, one of the important factor, that means important feature for malignancy is this one, that is anaplasia. And also there may be other questions like free radicals, what are the actions or mechanisms of free radicals, how does it cause injury to the cells. And there are also certain vivo questions like name the causes for cell injury, so that you should be able to tell all these features like free radicals, physical, chemical, biological, calcium, etc. like this. Okay. So, with this we come to an end, and also you should notice in certain areas like earlier classes I said, earlier slides, some prominent personals like Rudolf Virchow. Who is he? What is he? What is the importance, or what is the contribution of this Rudolf Virchow towards pathology? You should also remember certain prominent names. This may be asked in your viva also, like not only he is known as a father of modern pathology, he has contributions, so many contributions in pathology also. To give just an example is Virchow's triad, which comes under your cardiovascular pathology. That means it is one of the triad where you can see like blood flow, altered blood flow, hemostasis and alterations in the vessel wall, which constitutes for the varicose triad. And the other one being varicose lymph node, what we call it as a left supraclavicular lymph node is called as a varicose lymph node. So like this, in other topics also, not only in this cell injury and adaptation, but in other chapters also, you have got prominent persons, and there are synonymic terms also will be used for one term like this. So you should be able to know the synonymic terms and also certain prominent persons with and their contributions like this. Okay, thank you and good luck. Bye.